Good evening, everybody. This is Cinnamon Noir.
And this is the Ramen Shaman.
Welcome to Tower of Heaven by ASCII Soft, music by Flashy Goodness, who is an amazing composer, I gotta say. As you can hear from this opening. So, Tower of Heaven was made by a sort of indie Japanese developer. They haven't made many games, although they have another one I highly recommend called Pause Ahead, which is very similar in mechanics to this game, but with one special twist. But Tower of Heaven, they made in 2009, probably their best-known game. You may have heard of it before, it was pretty popular. But it's a simple little platformer with some complicated rules. We're going to see that when it gets started. And also a rather strange plot that's not entirely comprehensible, but I'll do my best to make sense of it while we go through. So you start off as this little guy with a little... Is that a cowlick coming out of his head? I don't know, because he's all in shadows. But there's this voice welcoming him to the tower.
If you truly wish to blah 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 blah.
Yeah. If you wish to gain rewards from this, get up to those stairs. And he says he has no patience for slow workers, so that's why there's a timer. Yeah, so there's a little more dangerous stuff here than just this. For a long while I thought that was a spike in the left corner there. Turns out it is not. It's like a blade of grass or something. Or maybe just a crack in the wall. So here you see the major things in this game. The only mechanics in it that you can do is you can move around and you can jump. Very simple inputs.
Basic platforming.
Yep, pretty basic. But it gets a little complicated, you'll see. This one's a little bit tricky. Well, better get used to proving ourselves. So this reminds you that you can save and says, may heaven grant you fortune. And I die right away.
Chop.
For some reason, even when you get hit in the bottom, your head explodes. I don't know why.
Getting Prince of Persia flashbacks from these traps, actually.
There is something a little Prince of Persia-y about this game. I can't make an adjective out of that. Prince of Persia. It's very hard to pronounce the hyphen. Anyway, I get through this one. So this voice does not want us to get up this tower. So it decides that it's going to give us some more rules through this book. While we're in the tower, we must obey the Book of Laws, and new ones get added in every single level.
Interesting.
You can check it with W. Can you guess what the first one is? Can't touch yellow blocks. We're going to see what happens when you touch yellow blocks, but first I'm going to get through this level. So things are a little more complicated now. This is a bit of a tricky jump. Very easy to get into that spike. I don't know if you can tell from the little slips of paper on it, but that is a fan. They're being blown up by the fan. And there's a very cute-looking butterfly there. I also love the background in this game that you can see through the windows. Really makes it atmospheric.
This looks hard as hell.
It is a little bit difficult. Especially after this. Now we can't touch blocks or walls from the side. See? If you do, you get struck by lightning. The thing about this game is, not only are there lots of rules, but it's also kind of easy to forget one when you're in the heat of the game. So there's lots of times, and then that kind of thing can happen. This game is a little unfair. Huh?
And they add up?
Yeah, they start to really become burdensome later on. Anyway, I was going to say, with a very limited color palette, this game manages to do a heck of a lot. It looks like a Game Boy game, but probably it's a lot prettier than almost any Game Boy game that's ever been made. I love the exterior scenes, they're beautiful. Anyway, I finally managed to make it past here. Yeah, I am going to play this game at death. Oh, shoot. How am I supposed to get out of here if I can't walk left? That's... okay. So that is what you can do. You cannot walk left. However, you can hop and move left in midair. This is just a little intermediary stage. There's a couple of these in between. You know, it kind of lets you unwind, relax. I also love the reflection they give you. See what I mean when I say these are graphics that most people wouldn't try on Game Boy style hardware? Even though they would be doable. I'll try to make your death quick and painless. So remember, we still cannot touch yellow blocks. We can't walk left, which I kind of thought that only applied for that one room at first, but no, it stays. And you can't touch the side of any block, which really comes to bite you here. I touched the barest smidgen of the side of that block, and it killed me. Yeah, it is very easy to accidentally kill yourself at this point. And we're not even done having rules added to this. We have at least one more. There we go. So I think they might expect you to fall down below here and then have to go up this yellow staircase, but you can also vault over the spike pit, and that makes the end of this level easier. I won't fail. Oh, shoot. So now I'm not allowed to touch anything that's living. That includes this grass, by the way, because grass is alive. Yep. I'm allowed to touch spikes, but they kill me anyway, so... Basically, the game allows me to touch anything that will kill me, and if it won't kill me, then it kills me. That's just the rules of this crazy mixed-up world. Makes you wonder why this kid decided to come into the tower in the first place. Kind of like Undertale.
Yeah.
What exactly is the motivation? These butterflies also count, obviously, so they become one of the most tricky obstacles in the whole game, because they move in a more complicated fashion than the rest. Now you might be wondering what killed me there. And the answer is that I accidentally moved left.
Oh.
Yep. Right at the end of the level. Very frustrating.
No pun intended.
What do you mean?
Right
left,
at
right?
the...
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So there were points when I was making this recording, because this is actually the first time I ever played through the game fully, when I sort of had to tell myself that if I took above a certain amount of time, I would quit. But I never got to the point where I actually did have to stop. Though believe me, I did come close. Hopefully this won't get too tedious, but I can expound or descant on some of the more complicated aspects of this game while we're waiting for me to stop failing.
This just seems sadistic.
It is. It's deliberately sadistic. Oh, and by the way, at this point, they make it illegal to check the rules. If you press W, you'll get killed. So you just have to memorize them all from here on out. Remember, don't touch the sides of things, don't touch living things, don't go left, and don't touch yellow blocks. Basically, this turns into a game of hopping. Lots and lots of hopping. And being very careful with your timing. You have to make very tiny jumps. And you have to remember that anytime you're going to move left, you need to be hopping. I love how your head explodes and then it launches you into the air. It's like a primitive version of ragdolling. And yeah, this opening section, very tough. This is like Super Meat Boy levels. There is a tiny margin of error between the two buzzsaws. Oh, and it's very easy to hit your head on the side of one of these blocks and then you die anyway. Because God hates you. Like, almost literally, this thing in the tower is basically God. And it said a curious thing earlier, which is that in order to get to the end of this, we must give up on our humanity. The idea is that by the top, you've kind of lost what made you ordinarily human. And by the time you do that, you're something different. Although this kid doesn't really look human to
touch
begin
butterflies without dying.
Yeah, no kidding. So that's kind of the funny thing. And yeah, this just proves that the grass is considered a living thing for the purposes of killing you.
Yep.
Yep. I wish I could walk on some dead grass or something.
Which is hilarious. They like deliberately add the most harmless, innocuous living thing.
That's what I love about it. This game is deliberate. But you know what you said, that was an interesting point, is that whether you would change or not, the fact that they make all these conditions does kind of take away your humanity. The fact that you can't touch a butterfly anymore.
Yeah.
It's kind of clever. But yeah, if you play this game, you will soon learn to hate not only buzzsaws, but also butterflies. The two most different things in the universe. This section is just really sadistic. It is so difficult to get your momentum going past those fans, while simultaneously missing the butterflies, who of course are flying in a circle, not back and forth, or anything easy to predict. Meanwhile, under every little bit of it is grass, which will kill you.
Yep.
The grass might as well be lava.
This is essentially a Super Meat Boy. Except that even Meat Boy was smaller and more agile.
Right, Meat Boy himself was smaller, the levels were more zoomed out. But I kind of like this game's challenge. You know, it's kind of like the way you play Dark Souls, and when you get to the end, you feel like a total badass. When I beat this game, I felt like a platforming badass. It was more, even though it's really short, it was more challenging than most platformers I've ever played. That was the point where my fingers got a little tired and I just couldn't even move. I just sat there and let the buzzsaw get me. Kind of like what Bill Murray's like near the end of Groundhog Day.
Oh god.
He just died so many times, it's like you don't even try to stop it. Is this... Nope. See, watching this again, I kind of get the sense of what a viewer is going to be like watching this, because I don't remember when I managed to get through. And I'm just on the edge of my seat, like, am I going to make it this time?
This is like if you ever watched anyone play the Genocide run in Undertale.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it's funny. I feel like... I don't like the Genocide run. Not because it's not clever, but just because I really wish that people hadn't even bothered to try for it. It really is kind of pointless and anticlimactic.
Well, that's the point.
I know it is, but doing it doesn't prove that you're a bloodthirsty asshole, which is what Toby Fox meant to prove. It proves that you have no life.
I guess, yeah.
But anyway, no, it's just the game does everything in its power to get you to stop doing it.
I guess I can respect the idea that it's... The whole point is sort of the futility of challenge modes like that.
It is. And I can appreciate that, but at the same time, I wish people had called his bluff and just not bothered to try for it.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I'm sure he wishes the same thing too, but he had to fulfill his own cynical view of game players.
Yep.
In any case, you might have seen back there, I hadn't run into any of the yellow blocks before, so you couldn't tell what it does. It burns you. You literally turn into ashes. I would actually say this is possibly the hardest room in the whole game, because there are other sections that are a little more tricky, but they're not as devious as this.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
I did not think I was going to make that. Dare you continue to live. This is also kind of like Undertale. You know why I live? Because I'm determined. Unfortunately, there's grass in front of the stairway, so I can't get out. Can you guess how you can get out of here?
By hitting up in midair?
No, that won't work. There's a clue in what just happened, which is that when I hit the bottom of that window, I exploded. That means that it's a solid object, not a background detail. You get out through the window. And you might have noticed that just says the Book of Laws shatters, so I am no longer affected by the laws. Law got nothing on me.
So why can't you touch the yellow brick?
Well, they're still burning. I mean, I
weird.
couldn't touch those even before. It's just that there weren't any yellow blocks before I could get through. And yeah, it's a little confusing, but I'm glad this is the one they kept instead of the, like, not being able to touch butterflies. Not that there are any butterflies out here. You may notice in the later sections of the game that there are no more living things. This tower has gone so high that nature is not even here anymore. This is a bit of a tricky section. You have to time your jumps very carefully to make sure that one, you can get on top of the blocks that are moving that you can get on, and two, that you go under the blocks that you can't get on. And you may have noticed I'm being very careful to avoid the sides of blocks. I've kind of forgotten that I can do it now. This game gives you Stockholm Syndrome when it comes to blocks.
This seems like more like traditional Super Meat Boy rather than like we hate you and want to watch you suffer.
Yeah, you're saying this part is more like Meat Boy than it is like screw you, you're dying.
Yeah, like that before it, considering how vindictive the narrator was,
yes,
I think that was what made it feel most like Undertale.
Absolutely. And the spirit in this game, it kind of gives the impression at this point that it's given up on trying to get you to turn back and do what it wants. Now it's just waiting to see what happens, which is also similar to what not exactly the narrator, but other characters do in Undertale. Undertale does have a very strong sense of personality in it. There's no narrator, but you get the feeling that it's Toby Fox watching you. Which is one thing I don't like about the game, but let's not get into that here, since I already turned literally every single episode into an excuse to talk about Undertale.
Yeah, I do like...
I have like a love-hate relationship with Undertale. It's
in
weird.
both the good and evil runs,
Mm-hmm.
the main goal of the villain isn't just to kill you, because they know that they can't kill you for good.
Exactly.
It's to wear out your resolve.
Yeah, it's a war of attrition. It's to get you to give up. And that is kind of supposed to be Toby Fox's point, is that whether you're a good guy or a bad guy in a video game, what keeps you going is determination, not anything else. I've heard an analysis of it that says that's actually kind of a cynical viewpoint, the idea that your friends and the power of friendship don't matter. And Undertale kind of reveals that, because all that matters is determination. It doesn't matter that the game talks a big game about how important your friends are. Your friends being important to you is not what keeps the game going. It's just the fact that you're determined to keep going. It doesn't matter what reason you're determined. You're just determined.
I think the best deconstruction of determination would probably be Spec Ops: The Line,
Absolutely.
which, without meaning to give spoilers, is about how your bloody-minded determination
Oh, that death.
is what made everything so much worse.
That death was so awful. I was doing so
Oh,
well.
yeah.
No, I agree. Spec Ops: The Line is about how your desire to be a good guy is precisely what makes you a bad guy.
We should do a flip.
No, we shouldn't.
No?
No, I don't find that game very engaging, actually. Not that I completely disagree with its message, but I do think the game is a little cheap. The game's message is, you're a monster, and then it forces you to be one.
I've heard that
I don't
argument
think that that's
before.
particularly clever. I think a game where you're tricked into doing something wrong when you could have done something better is a little different. But that's what Undertale is like. Undertale tries to trick you into taking the easy way out. What I'm saying is Undertale is a better version of Spec Ops: The Line. And we can't do an Undertale Let's Play because everyone and their dog, no joke reference intended, has already done an Undertale Let's Play. Everyone and Toby Fox's dog have already done an Undertale Let's Play.
I guess my only defense for that sort of railroading in Spec Ops: The Line is it gives you the sort of same feeling that Walker has, which is that he didn't have a choice but to do the things that he did.
Sure.
And there is
he
kind
did.
of a point.
That's the thing. As a person watching it, I've watched a little bit of it, I can think of better options to do than what he chooses to do. The game gives you prompts at several points and cuts you off from progress unless you do something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just like what Bioshock Infinite does. Bioshock Infinite, which puts you supposedly in the, character of a smart spy, instead puts you in situations where you have to kill everyone in a room or you can't leave. What kind of absurd situation is that? When it comes to making you question what kind of a person your main character really is, I can appreciate the importance of that. Like, you think you're a smooth spy, but your character is actually just a bloodthirsty monster.
Yeah.
But when it comes to trying to make the player question themselves, I think that's a little bit of a cheap shot.
Yeah.
By the way, this is the end of the game. There are no more challenges after this, we've made it. Now we're just floating through space. And we go back into the the Tower of Heaven at its highest point. And now it's nighttime. Earlier it was during the day. But we've spent all day in this tower. Or who knows, maybe it was longer than a day. Time feels kind of elastic when you play this game, have you noticed? It was a butterfly the whole time! I knew it. Butterflies are evil. This is kind of funny. The butterfly creature suggests that your getting up all this way is actually a failure. That the so-called gift of humanity that this thing gave you should have kept you from getting up the tower. But instead you lost your humanity in going up. Kind of a strange message, really. But it asks you what your wish is, and you don't get to see what your character's wish is, actually. But apparently it was something special, because there's a whole lot of shaking going on. Ain't no faking. A whole lot of shaking going on.
Oh, God.
Anywho. So the tower's broken. No more Tower of Heaven. Kinda sad, really. Although, apparently the tower was what was keeping everything in grayscale, because once it falls, everything is nice again. This game is a very ambiguous kind of moral message. It's strange. The idea is your character has sort of lost their connection to the rest of the world, but the world is a better place because of it.
Yeah.
Kind of strange. It's like your character sacrificed himself. But the game's never specific about what you did, and so it is left with this very strange, disconcerting atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And this was all from the perspective of a person who wasn't even the character we were playing. Who knows who this guy is? So I don't know if you noticed, but every single song in this game is just elaborations on one song. But it's such a great song that I love it. I don't care. This piano version is close to my favorite of all the different renditions of it. But no, this is a great little game. It's fun to play. It's clever to a certain extent. And it knows what it wanted to accomplish. It's a very humble game. But it's not quite over yet. I mean, the Let's Play is over. Let's not be... forget that. But once you finish the game, you do get some things unlocked. You can go through speedrun mode, which we'll be showing in a bit.
Oh, God.
I died 80 times, which isn't too much, but for 20 minutes it is... That's 4 deaths a minute.
That's 1 every 15 seconds.
Indeed. That's how often I died. There are 2 secrets in this game, which I didn't get. So that means you have to play this game and get those secrets for me, if you want to know what they are. And, just do it for me, because I made this Let's Play. You owe me so much. Anywho, I strongly encourage anyone to download this game. It's free, and it's a very fun game. Speedrun mode's a little different. There's no more timer in the top that's determining, whether you die or not. Instead, there's one consistent timer through the whole game. But let's just leave our formerly innocent character just frolicking with this butterfly. And we will see you guys the next time we play a different game. Maybe as clever as this, maybe substantially less clever. Who knows? Until then, just listen to this peaceful little ocean sound. And we'll see you later. Bye.
Goodbye.
Good evening, everybody. This is Cinnamon Noir.
And this is the